Welcome to the National Real Estate Network video training program. This video is part of a series designed to help beginning and experienced real estate investors with the different aspects of purchasing and investing in properties. Be sure to click become a member at 27monthlymeetup.com.
I could not do what I'm doing here today if it wasn't for Irvi, because she puts all this stuff together. She handles everything. And she's like 100% my partner, and she's one of the owners of National Real Estate Network, which there's a flyer in your packet too. And like it meets the third Thursday. Like this month, we've got Reggie Brooks coming, who is an expert in abandoned properties. I just wanted to thank you for your partnership and let everybody know that. Just thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Not just thank you, thank you. The other thing I wanted to put in too was, you know, everybody like talked about financial freedom and that's what you want. You know, like I'm playing a game right now, it's called 2020. I created this game, I got 20 months to live, you know, and if I had 20 months to live, what would I do? So I've got this game, it's called 2020, and I want to have passive income of $20,000 a month coming in at the end of 20 months. So that's the game I'm playing. And I created that as like a possibility for the future. So that's passive income. That means income I'm not associated with. They're not doing anything, and it shows up. So what I would like you to do is, like, because people don't think about this, is like you're coming to the seminar, you're coming to a seminar and you're sitting like, I want to make money, I want to do this. So what I'm going to do right now is you get to tell your next door neighbor, the person sitting to you, I'm going to give you 1 minute each to share, like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what are some of your goals or dreams or aspirations, or what do you see if you had financial independence, what would that bring you? And there's people in this room that are incredible at putting structures around that. So anybody that's like majorly good at doing that or coaching around that, why don't you raise your hand? Kristen, you want to raise your hand? There you go. So that's, you know, so there's some coaches for that. Okay. So let's postcards. And I think she handed out, did we hand out a pamphlet with some, we haven't? Do we have that? No? Okay. So postcards, what I went off of. Flyers. You can create your own flyer, but it needs to be just a simple flyer that says, basically, I buy houses for cash in any condition. And I've done incredibly well putting flyers out in the neighborhood. And when I put the flyers out in the neighborhood, I usually teamed up with a mortgage company. I teamed up with a home improvement company. I teamed up with a real estate company. And I would put 2 flyers out. They were printed front and back. And I had my flyer that said, I buy houses for cash on the top. And we'd roll them up and put them on the door. You can't put them in the mailboxes. We'd put them on the doors of the houses. And then the other company shared in the cost of doing that. So I basically put 4 kids into a neighborhood, put 2,500 flyers out in one day, paid each one of them $50. And then the other people that helped me do that, the real estate company, the mortgage company, the home improvement company, kicked in the money. And what happened was, off of those flyers, some of them would call back 4 months later, and they would put the flyer on their refrigerator. So it's like you're like dumbfounded on the response, but that does work really good. And that way you can do a targeted area where you want to be and put flyers out in the neighborhood. So you can create door hangers too, where you just hang them. Like maybe you're in an area where it might upset somebody if you put a sticker on their door, so you could put a door hanger, you know, on it. Frank?
I'm not a local company that does door hangers like that, but they put something on the back side for lawn care or recipes or whatever have you, so you don't throw them away.
Yeah, that's good. I used to put this one up, and it says, urgent warning, this building has severe safety hazards. Just because the property is boarded doesn't mean it's safe. If you own this property and someone gets hurt on it, you could get sued and lose everything. We can help you. Stop putting yourself at risk. If you have any questions, please contact, wasn't my name, Ralph Miller, Washington Financial, LLC. who called was not the person that owned the house, but who called was the neighbor. And then I had ones that said, that would say, if you know who owns this property, we'll pay a reward, you know, if we end up purchasing it. So then the neighbor's calling you to collect the reward. It could be, you know, one of these bandit signs. If it's a boarded up house, I just leave the sign. It's just a big business card, right? You just nail it to the boards, and although I've had my son nail nails through the boards, through the brand new windows on the other side, so you need to use common sense where you would put it. But we'll leave signs like that right on the house, and they'll call back and say, what in the heck are you doing putting this sign on my house? You had no right to do that. And they get really upset. And then what's the next question out of their mouth? How much will you pay for it? And inside that conversation, you actually can develop a great relationship with them. So what do you think I say when somebody calls like that? Like, what's a conversation you could have with them? They're really upset.
So I'm trying to help you.
I am, and you know what? If I can, I work teaching seminars, or you could say I'm part of a team, and they have over 4,000 investors on a database. We could actually do a broadcast out. I'm pretty sure I got a buyer. I was trying to find out what you got. That might be an alternative for us. You know, you owe us no money if we bring you a buyer. If we bring you a buyer, you owe us money. But if you sell it yourself, you don't owe us any money. It's a really simplistic way. And here you've got a house with no sign on it. And our advertising agreement allows us to get the word out. They're just not... See, a lot of people, they'll get in trouble and they don't want to tell anybody about it. So like in all my great ups and downs, one of the experiences I had was living in a house in Bloomfield Hills on Upper Long Lake, and all of a sudden I'm in foreclosure because of what I was telling you guys about. And when they put that sticker on your mailbox that says that you're being foreclosed on, what happens is a jillion investors back then, it's not as heavy now because there's a lot more foreclosures, they're all chasing you. So what it occurs to you when you're in that situation is like everybody in the world knows you're in foreclosure. And it's incredibly embarrassing. You don't want your neighbors to know and that. So they go into themselves. So that's a way to get that person to call you, and you can get into a conversation with them, and you know you can break ground. So that signs are a great way to do that. And that might not be their circumstance. It could be a death, they moved out of state, they're making double house payments, the house is in, you know, I mean, it's a lot of different ways, but the point is, unless you're out generating these leads, you have to do that in order to have the conversation. And massive actions will bring you massive results, right? But then you can look at what the great deals are, and that's really what you're looking for yourself. But you shouldn't pass up the other opportunities where you can say to the realtor, how many realtors in the room again? Raise your hand. If somebody brought you a good deal to list, or do you have somebody in your office that's got a good deal to list, and you said to them, I want a 25% referral fee back, well, let me ask you it this way. How many of you know retail realtors that have major problem trying to get listings and stuff? And if you were a bird dog for them, or you were finding them deals, they have absolutely no problem paying you 25% referral fee, or more. Some of them couldn't generate it. You can do that. So this is a business we're talking about here today. So lead generation is a business, so you need to not waste your leads. Figure out how to disperse them. So magnetic signs is a very, very inexpensive way to promote yourself. And you can buy them. I don't know what, does anybody know the cost for putting magnetic signs on the side of your car that say you buy houses for cash? $20. And where would you go get those? What is it?
Reassigns.com.
Reassign. That's a great name. I've already talked about that. If you go on this Detroit Investment Homes website under resources, there's a place where you can order shirts and hats that say I buy houses for cash.
Mark?
Yes.
Driving for dollars, I missed
It's called when you're out driving and you see a house that's boarded up, abandoned, the grass this tall, ugly. It's time to put a sticker on it, a sign in the front yard, or something to get the people to call you back. It's time to go on the website, find out where the mail's going to, if it's going out of state. Like if you were in Detroit, you can go on the City of Detroit website, pick up and see where the tax bill's going, and mail them.
or you can go to infospace.com.
infospace.com.
Yep,
And do,
$40, it'll give you their whole life history, how old they are, how many kids they have, how old their kids are, listing of their neighbors' addresses on that block of their residential, all other addresses that have been listed for them. If they have judgments, bankruptcy, lawsuits, all other properties, $49 at infospace.com. It'll take you to a link called Intellius service, and it's nothing but skip tracer, internet skip tracer for $40.
all right, so will you write that up on the board at the break for everybody so they can do that? Is anybody doing direct mail in the room? Or had experience with it? I've not done a lot of that, so I can't address it, but it does work. Business cards, we talked about that. Radio, I've done radio in the past, and it was a break even for me. It did not get the result that I wanted, and I think that radio is a very good source for doing it. I think I was on the wrong stations, so. Billboards, anybody done billboards? I've done it for charities where we put billboards up, and they've been effective.
What's a billboard run average? Depends on the location.
It depends upon the location. A lot of the smaller billboards, you can get them anywhere from $100 up to $150. I'm talking about the ones that are probably the size of that screen where you see them on the side of small buildings. The billboards we were using, we had one we were paying $1,700 a month for, and we had one that we were paying $600 a month for, and that was on like 94. Oh, menus. If you're going to, I got a sign from the back. If you want to eat here, pass your menus into the rows into the center, and somebody will collect them. Question?
Do you get to choose the location, or they choose the location for you?
No, there's a bunch of different things you can do with billboards. You can go to a billboard company and say, I want to be put on your signs that are not occupied right now, and I don't mind being on a rotation deal. I need to get your cheapest possible deal, and you can move me anywhere. So there's different things that you can do with billboard companies, and I'm more into how I can do it for free. So, and I've tried the other way, and it's expensive cost per the number of leads you get. And the other thing is if people have already got the signs up that say we buy houses for cash, you should be on a billboard, you should call them and talk to them, because maybe they're generating more leads that they can handle. And most people will share with you if you really get to know them a little bit and talk to you, and they could give you what their cost per month is and what the results are. Bus benches work. So there's a lot of places you can get those. And I got to be honest with you, I made my own bus bench and dropped it on a corner in the city of Detroit, and it stayed there for 5 years. Seemed like a good place for a bus bench. So, and I'm not recommending that. And then I had, I've also, when I found bus benches that are falling down or abandoned and needed to be refurbished and put back together, I've put them back together and put my signs on them because it seemed like a community service project. Newspapers, you can buy inserts to put into the newspaper and like kit it by zip code. So you can actually create your flyer that you want to go into the newspaper and hit the zip code you want. And you can do that fairly inexpensively. You have to provide them the flyers, the newspaper company stuffs them, and I've done that in the past. Now you can put an ad in the newspaper. It is effective, and we're in how many papers right now? 14? Well,
Oh, yeah, 6, like 11 or 12.
we're like in 11 or 12 newspapers, and we figured out how to, you want to figure out how to try to get to the top of the newspaper, like what it would take to do that, like AAA, if that's what gets you there, if it's a logo or an emblem. Where are we in the top 4? Mm-hmm. So we're in the top 4 on how we got there. And out of those papers, how many leads are we averaging?
It's 5 a day.
5 a day. And that's, the cost of that is, I'm just trying to give,
Like
We're in the Oakland Press every day, and we're in the Detroit News. We're in on Sunday, and that was like for the Detroit News. I think it was like $3.50, and I don't know what the Oakland Press was.
Oakland Press was
$3.50, and that gets us into like a bunch of other newspapers with the Oakland Press, and we're in there every day. So that will generate leads.
$350 per day per zip code?
That's $350 per month. And that's in being in the free press. Now we got logos that go on ours and stuff like that. I think we have a bell that goes on ours.
Does that cover all the zip codes or what?
No, that's where we're just advertising in the newspaper. So I'm talking about two different things. When you can go to the newspaper and get your flyers made up and they'll stuff them, and I don't know what that costs per zip code. You have to talk to the newspaper. I've done it in the past. I don't know what it is now. Or you can put in a classified ad in where it says we buy houses for cash. Now the thing you want to know about when you run those ads, you're up against competition because there's a bunch of ads there, so it's called Race to the Swift. So you've got to really know your business. You've got to be able to go there and write a purchase agreement right on the spot. You can't do it in slow motion. You have to be ready to take the property or tie it up or lock it up or get your advertising agreement done with them right on the spot. We do email broadcasts too. Like if I need to get a property in a given area, I've got a buyer that wants a property, I can do a broadcast out to those 4,000 people and say I want to buy a house in this given area. If I've got a property that I want to sell that I've just taken in, I can do the broadcast out and let people know about it. Michael, you have a house like right now, so you just did this. What was the results on that? You've got one in Southfield. You
I got an offer, and I broadcast an email out to the 4,000 or so investors, and I got responses immediately, and I did Wednesday afternoon and Thursday morning.
And how many responses did you get to the 4,000?
Between the afternoon and the next day around noon, I had about 10 to 12 responses
In one offer.
in one offer.
So that's another resource to utilize. So then the question becomes like, can you use mine? Yes, you can. I just want a fee for when if you score.
I'm just going to do another one. An investor who's up in Chesterfield
Uh-huh.
and got a hold of a house down in E-Course, put it out on a broadcast message,
Mm-hmm.
and in 24 hours, he had 3 offers. My wife and I happened to be first, and we even took 12 hours because she was out of town for me to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, first fax in is in, and when we got it, and I know that he had the same kind of response that Mike was talking about.
Right. So the point is, you don't have to know a lot about this business, and it'll really tell you instantly whether it's a good deal or a bad deal, because when 4,000 people look at it and you get no response, you start to find out. So, brochures and restaurants is a really good one. You ever gone to a restaurant and you got little ads on the placemats that say, I buy houses for cash? That works. And that's inexpensively ways to do it. Party stores, in the past, when you've got something like this, you can put a display in a party store. You can create a partnership with the store owner, that you and the store owner can create a toll-free number together, where when the customer calls in to the toll-free number, the Canadian answering service that I use emails the lead back, but it emails the lead to me and the party store owner. So now the party store owner can call me and say, well, you had this property, or this property. What's the results on it? So if I was paying him a referral fee or we were partners in the deal, then it creates a tracking system to it. So do you see how you can start to create partnership with people? Do you see if you knew somebody that owned a trucking company, like a plumber or something, that had 16 trucks on the road, that your signs could be going everywhere? To say, I buy houses for cash with a separate number. Do you start to see? So you want to start thinking like, this isn't limited to just what you can put signs out, but who you know that you could, Yes? Only when I make money. Right. You could structure a deal that you make 20%. Or the party store owner could be interested in finding something for himself. So he gets the opportunity to cherry pick with the leads, right? So it's all a negotiation. And then I had some of the people I've had in the past was like I had a guy that did a newspaper route. He already knows all the party store owners. So I'll create a relationship with him where we create a toll-free number, and he's going into all the party stores and setting up the boxes. He's already in there every week or every day picking up the newspaper so he can keep the boxes stuffed. He has a relationship with the people, and you're out promoting yourself. So you see how you in all this lead generation, you want to start to see how you can generate partnership with other people. And I think that, to be blatantly honest with you, you could like not put any signs up and just work on calling people that already had the signs up, the meeting of the Brian Phippses of the world, because some of those people are battleship marketers and they can't handle the amount of leads coming in. So that's another way to do it. And it's all inside the knowledge, like you've got the knowledge to know and have enough sense to go get an advertising agreement with something, send the house out on a broadcast, and Bill's going to show up at your door if it's a really good deal, and put a deal together. So it's the knowledge of being able to, that you've got that they're not thinking about. Like hardware stores, there's still a few good ones around that are chances to doing stuff. And I'll tell on Denise, because I don't know if it's okay to share it or not, she creates little flyers that say I buy houses for cash, and it's got the tear-off number. You've been in a lot of restaurants where somebody's selling something and you can pull the number off. So that's another great way to do it. It doesn't cost anything to do that, or it costs very little. It costs your time. And then you just start looking at the different kinds of places like beauty shops, websites. If you want to see a buyer's website, that says, you can go to www.888ronbell.com, and that's a sample of a website where it's geared towards generating leads into it to be bought. And that's a duplicate website off of Mr. Pre-Foreclosure, so it's a very well done website. Jenny, you want to, and then I want to show you, like starting on Monday, we've got between this Monday and the next 3 weeks, we've got 100 commercial spots that we're going out with on television, on WB, and I've done this in the past. This commercial is probably the most effective commercial. The commercial I did in the past, I'd go on the commercial and say, I want to buy tax foreclosures, I want to buy foreclosures, I'm looking for worn out landlords, blah, 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 blah. It was way too busy. And this is the new commercial that we're now doing, and I can't tell you if it'll be effective or not, but I can tell you that everybody that's seen this commercial, I can ask them 1 hour later what the phone number is, and they'll repeat the phone number back to me. So like whatever you're doing, you want to look at your phone number and try to create like 999-LOVE, it's one of my numbers. Everything I got, you want to try to spend some time that people will remember the number. We're going to get into how to generate leads now. So I just want you to start thinking about like it's people that you want to come in contact with. So we've got the police. Anybody know any police officers? They absolutely know what's happening. They know where the motivated people are. Bailiffs. If you're in the district court, the bailiffs know all the worn out landlords. They're right there. They can watch it. They can tell you who's crying in the hall. So you need to get to know the bailiffs. It's called donuts. It's called whatever it takes to get to know the bailiff. The court clerks. Do you know that in foreclosures, when somebody's in foreclosure, it goes into the legal news. It's public notice, and everybody can get it. But when you are doing a forfeiture, which when you sell a house on seller financing on a land contract in the state of Michigan, that is not in the legal news, because they're all handled in individual district courts. It's public information. If you can get to know the bailiff, get to know the court clerk, you can get that information. Now you're talking to people that nobody else is talking to. That's the trick. Way back when, I used to put my signs really high on the poles. It's a no-no, but they were up high. And I kept getting all these phone calls from people that rode the bus that had houses for sale. I could not figure out where it was coming from. But I was marketing to people that would see the sign because they were riding in the bus up high. The cars were all going past it, but people in the bus were calling. So you want to market, be where nobody else is. So district courts is a great place to be that. So, you know, you can hang out like at Walmart. You could be the greeter telling people which way to go at the court, you know.
Also, people on the bus can write something down because they're not driving.
Right. So on a land contract forfeiture, what you do is you're taking your property back, because if you decide to do a foreclosure on somebody in a land contract and you do that in circuit court, you can only do a judicial foreclosure that could run you up to 3 years in circuit court. So what happens is all land contract foreclosures, and that's not what they earlier called, they're called land contract forfeitures, end up happening in district court. And people don't think that they can do those themselves, so they hire an attorney. So their motivation level goes way up high. So that's a great place to find leads. Funeral home's a great place. Not to go there like the used car salesman and work a deal on the coffin. I'm talking about funeral directors and that. They know motivated people. And when you can find who handles the people that die, end up in probated estates, right? And when you're out chasing these leads, also what will happen to you is you're going to find people that never probated the estate. So now you put a sign out, you get a call, and they say, my dad owned the property, and he died, and I'm now living here, and I want to sell it. And they never probated the estate. And there's no money to probate the estate. So there's a gentleman that I use by the name of Darren Finling Law Firm, and I work out a deal with him and says, I got this property resold, and they want to sell it, and the estate needs to be probated. So he probates the estate for me, he puts a lien against it, and gets paid on the sale. Now he's holding me to account around that cost. So I'm saying you can start to do some creative things where the competition falls off. So now you know what he also does is he does quiet titles. So when somebody comes to me and they've got the house and it needs to be quieted, I then say, okay, we'll take you over to Darren, and Darren's going to do the quiet title. And he's going to put a lien against the property. When the quiet title done, then the sale goes down and it gets paid. So you start to eliminate your competition. So it's back again like having the knowledge to where to go find these people. It pays off. The person that knows more about anything is the mailman. When I was in foreclosure, I guarantee you my mailman knew I was in foreclosure. Guarantee it. They know what the mail looks like coming. They know when somebody's in debt collection. They know where the motivated sellers are. So if you have a relationship with a postman, or you marry a postman, or whatever, it's a great resource. They know what's happening in the neighborhood. Now, you
said Finland?
it's F-I-N-D-I-N-G. Finling, help me out. Finling, okay. It's embarrassing when I introduce him because I butcher it the same way. So you need to have a conversation with him as you know what you're doing and convince him that he's going to get paid, you know. I've got a track record with him because he does want to get paid in these deals. People in this room, there's deals to be done. And this afternoon, like, who right now has deals that you've got in your hand or don't know what to do? Okay. Attorneys, you know, probate attorneys, divorce attorneys, excellent source of deals. Code enforcers, city inspectors, the people that condemn the abandoned properties. Those are all great people to get to know. Firemen are outstanding resources for finding stuff. They've got a lot of time. A lot of firemen have a lot of properties. The tax assessor is a great place to go to talk, especially if it's a local tax assessor, because he knows who's dragging their taxes. He's got a flavor for, he's got his pulse on things. The water department is a great place because water, you know, when there's delinquent water bills, like you got a $8,000 delinquent water bill, there might be some motivation. So.
How would they give that information to you? For the Information Act? Or?
Absolutely. So how could you find landlords is in the state of Michigan, when you don't pay your water bill, it can roll over on the taxes. There's also a law in the state of Michigan that says if you get a water affidavit and take it to the city and file it with the city, that the city can't roll your water bill over to your taxes. And the water affidavit has the tenant's name on it and all that information, and the tenant signed it, and each city has its own form for that. And so that means that the city will actually go turn the tenant's water off instead of letting it roll over to taxes. So that's a way to find landlords, right? Pawn shop owners, mortgage brokers. The mortgage brokers in here. So, and I'll just ask you, and I'm not saying, it's probably not the group that's in this room, but mortgage brokers overall, people who are over leveraged, somebody that's in foreclosure, has a first mortgage of $100,000, has a second mortgage for $30,000, has a third mortgage for $20,000. The house is worth $140,000. They've got $150,000 in mortgages on it, and they come to the loan officer. A lot of loan officers will take the deal, collect the money, order the appraisal, order the title work, and then discover they can't do the deal, right? And then we got a house that's over leveraged, so there's no value. If that same house came to the realtor, their response would be exactly the same. You ever seen Animal House when the guys went to join the fraternity and they moved them over into the geek section, you know? So it's kind of like that. Well, here, go talk to this new realtor that we just got. He'll handle your deal. So but what the opportunity is that when you've got second lien positions, they'll come off of it for 10 cents on the dollar, and a lot of times the first will come off. So what you do with mortgage brokers is a lot of them are holding incredible deals in their hand. They don't even know they're holding them, because it's your skill set that you get by coming to these meetings to be able to know to go to negotiate the second and the third and get a short sale on the first and put your deal together.
Also, they have people that are waiting to get into a home.
Absolutely.
Qualified, just waiting for someone to work a good deal.
Yeah, the loan officer needs somebody where they'll pay the allowable closing costs. They'll help the people get into the house.
I got one of those.
All right, that's good. If we've got some time, we'll actually do like a have-want session so that you can, like, there's deals that'll go together out of this room. So, wholesalers, great resource for deals. So the wholesalers in this room, raise your hand again. Okay, so they're a great resource. Public adjusters, when you have a fire or something, you hire a public adjuster. The insurance company will hire a public adjuster, and a lot of times the owner hires a public adjuster. And public adjusters have got all kinds of deals. There's probably like about 168 public adjusters in the state of Michigan. You can go on michigan.gov and find out who they are. They know where there's lots of deals.
Insurance adjusters too. I've got a client, that's all he does. When the house has a little fire, and they say they want to walk away from it, he picks up many deals up there for $1,000. They just fill it all off.
Right, because what a public adjuster will do for the owner of the property is they'll get them a full settlement. So here the owner's got all their money for the house and enough money to go buy whatever they want, and they just want to get rid of the other property. So they'll take it off their hand for $1,000, or if you can develop a relationship, you can find some great buys. Real estate agents, and I'm saying real estate agents, you need to let them know that you buy houses for cash. With real estate agents, when I make investment offers, you can send, I used to send offers out. I would just go through the MLS and look for terms. And by terms, I would mean I would be looking for the comment section. Fixer-upper, tender loving care, probated estate, foreclosed, you know, handyman special. Look for those comments, and then what we would do is we would not do an offer. We'd just do a letter of intent that this offer it may seem low to you, but sometimes the seller's conditions dictate taking a lower price, and here's our offer, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, they would sometimes call back and say, you're crazy, you're nuts, I never do that. But then 4 months later, they do come back and say, okay, well, that offer's still good. Or it gives you an opportunity to say, do you have somebody in a situation that would work? And the realtors don't have the tools to be able to know how to negotiate a second off or do any of that. That's where, by coming to this kind of stuff you're coming to today, you get those tools to be able to do that. Traditional real estate, you list the house, and it's not anything to do with what we're doing here. So like they don't have the tools to get the house reduced. Owners of charities have great deals. All charities are motivated sellers. Have you ever met a charity that didn't need money immediately? All charities are getting offered properties. All charities are scared to death of property. Why are they scared to death of property? Because they have a board of directors, and the board of directors says this property has liability exposure. What if somebody gets hurt on it? What if this? What if that? What if there's an environmental problem? So there's a bureaucracy. So as you as an investor can go to them and say, if somebody's offering a property, I'm willing to buy it right on the spot, you can develop great relationships. I've taught a lot of seminars, and over the years I've had a lot of people in the seminars that have bought properties from charities and have relationship with charities. Anybody here bought from charities? Okay. Asset managers, tough to get to know. They're the guys that work for the mortgage companies that deal with REO agents. That's real estate owned, so they're looking for agents to list their properties. We've got a relationship with one of those asset managers. Auctioneers. With auctioneers, it's great to go to an auction. I got a postcard at home from national auctioneers, and they deal in a lot of lower end or tougher type investment type properties. And what you're looking for, you're going there, is there's cash buyers coming there who are investors that will pay cash for a house. So, and they've got to put up an actual deposit to be a bidder. So it's an opportunity to really collect a list of great buyers, and it's also an opportunity to have all the people that are coming to an auction to look. And at auctions, when we put low-end houses on it and the bids came in low, what the auctioneer does, he goes back to all those people and tries to put deals together, so you can actually track the properties and go back to the owners afterwards, or go through the auctioneer. Contractors, all the contractors you work with are great resources. They're on the streets. If you can get signs on their trucks, if they're working on one of your properties, they get great deals all the time coming to them. BPO agents, that's broker's price opinion. Those are agents that work for the mortgage company, that the mortgage company, the property hasn't gone into foreclosure yet. The people are 60 days behind, or they're 90 days behind, or it has gone into foreclosure, but the mortgage company goes and hires a realtor to go look at the property to tell them, is it still occupied? What's the value of that property from a street drive-by? Shoot me a picture of it. They want to see that the house is occupied. They want to make sure the utilities aren't shut off. So the agents that actually go out and shoot those pictures are great people to get to know. Now, where would you find those agents? You would go to reonetwork.com, reonetwork.com, because that's where they put their resumes on to the asset managers that say, I do that kind of work. So you go to reonetwork.com, the city you want to find, you put the city in, and you hit the button, and it pops up with a list of all the agents there that are willing to do BPOs or REOs. So that's where you find your REO and BPO agents. So a lot of times you're getting the information before, if you can develop a relationship. But sometimes the mortgage company's sending the agent out to get cash for keys. So it's a great place to find stuff. I've got a baker that's got my signs up in his bakery that works good. Jail we talked about. The MLS we talked about a little bit. That's a great place. If anybody went to Robin Thompson's seminar, how many people went to Robin Thompson's seminar? That's all her whole seminar is about, is using REO agents to get you great deals on real estate. And what you got to get inside, we should talk just a minute about this. People have come to me and said, well, I'm calling the REO agent, he won't call me back. That's because they've got lots of properties they're juggling, and they've got all their own buddies that they're selling the houses to.
By clicking the link in the description below, you can purchase the full version of this video in all the forms mentioned within, for only $7.99. Or, if you like, you can get access to all of our real estate investing videos at 27monthlymeetup.com. The cost is only $27 a month, and includes all past meetings, 3 new meetings a month, plus all the forms mentioned. Thanks for watching.